Hello. Here's a quick look at the part that will be simulated in this project. The solid lines represent a lathe turning profile, and the round circles represent holes that will be drilled and tapped. The project will be started out with the complete roughing of side A. 60 thousandths of an inch will be left all around to finish off the part in setup 3. Setup 2 for side B will be started out by roughing out the face and the outer diameter. 60 thousandths of an inch will be left on both to finish off later. And now the center will be spot drilled. And now the center will be peck drilled to create an opening for the boring bar. Notice the pointed tip on the drill. That's going to leave material in the bottom that will have to be cleaned up. There is a better tool for doing this, but an end mill is going to be used here to square up the bottom of the hole. Notice the wedge shape at the bottom of the hole from the last tool. That's what's being cleaned up here. And here is an updated view of the bottom of the bore. Notice that it's been squared up. The bore can now be completely roughed out. 60 thousandths of an inch will be left on all surfaces to finish off later. Here is what's going on inside of that bore. The blue lines are material that's being turned away to shape the bore, and the yellow lines are lines where the tool is rapidly moving away from the part. The face will now be cut to finish size, along with the outer diameter, since its dimension is a scale fit. The upper bore is now being given a semi-finished pass. 30 thousandths of an inch will be left on its diameter to do a mic check. This will be checked with an inside micrometer once the pass is complete. If the diameter is off, an offset change will be made to correct it and get it back in tolerance before the finished pass is run. The upper bore area is now being finished, and since the middle bore is a scale fit, that'll be finished with the same pass. Here is a closer look at what was being done in that last pass. The next bore feature can now be cut. This is also a mic fit, so 30 thousandths of an inch will be left on the diameter for the finished pass. This is a closer look at the feature that was just cut. The rest of the bore is now being finished. Here is what that last pass did. Now it's time to do some live tooling. All of the holes on the finished face are now being spot drilled. 8 evenly spaced holes in the bolt hole circle are now being peck drilled. What pecking does is clears the chips from the hole. This is actually less stressful on the drill. These holes are going to be tapped later to add some threads. The same 8 holes are now being given a 45-degree chamfer. It helps to deburr the holes and it looks more professional, but it also helps to guide the tap in during the tapping process. And now the holes are being tapped. These are blind holes with the threads only going in about 1.5 inches. The final 2 holes on the finished face are now being peck drilled. These won't be tapped and they're only going in about 1 inch deep. These 2 holes won't need to be chamfered because that was actually done earlier when they were spotted by spotting them a little bit too deep. The same tactic will be used in the next spotting operation on the side too. 8 evenly spaced holes are now being spotted on the finished outer diameter of the part. These will all be drilled and tapped later on too. The bolt hole circle is now being peck drilled, and these will be tapped in the next operation. Once these holes are finished tapping, side B will now be complete. The next step after this will be to go back to side A for a third setup. There are a couple of reasons why 3 setups were needed to do only 2 sides of the part, one of which is because of the heat. The other is because we are currently jawed on an area where threads need to be cut. The part will start out with the finished face pass, along with the semi-finished pass on the area where the threads are going to be turned. A mic check and any necessary offset changes were made to get the part back in spec if needed. The major thread diameter can now be finished, and since the rest of the part is a scale fit, that'll be turned as well. The next step will be to turn a groove at the end of the threads. Here is a better look at what is going on during that grooving operation. And now the threads are being turned with a single point threader. A spot is being made for a drainage hole on the finished face. The drainage hole is now being peck drilled. A plug will be screwed in here later. Now that the hole has been tapped, the part is complete. And voila! Here's the finished part. It'll be rotated around a little bit just so you get a better idea what it looks like. I have set up and run similar parts before, but never had a chance to actually program one, so this was a really good learning experience. There are a few things that I would have done differently, but I had to operate under the constraints of what Mastercam allows. I'm Marc Tex Wilson. Thanks for watching.